This is Ju Taju. From his morning routine, we can tell he's obsessed with organization. Everything in his apartment is meticulously organized, and nothing he does is spontaneous. Needless to say, there is no other living thing apart from himself. His wife and daughter are smiling from the picture on the wall, but they don't live with him. Plants and pets are just too messy. His neighbor looks like the complete opposite. Dressed in bright colors, the man keeps talking to his dog as if they were alone in the elevator. Taiju can barely hide his disgust by the little fellow. But the neighbor is so clueless that he thinks Taiju is staring because he wants to pet his baby. To their horror, the dog begins to pee all over Taiju, and his owner's attempt to clean it up only make it worse. Luckily, Taju's job has a perfect outlet for his anger: shooting practice. He works for the NIS, the National Intelligence Service, and he seems to be very good at it. His colleagues are so sure that he will get promoted that they are already congratulating him. At the meeting, Director Min postpones the announcement to brief the team on a new threat. A terrorist group called the Lone Wolf has been targeting South Korea, and their timing couldn't be worse. The Chinese PM is coming to attend an official function, and he's bringing along a very special ambassador. The NIS is expected to provide round-the-clock protection and treat her as a VIP guest. As the agents begin to get curious about this lady, the director shows who it is. It's a panda bear. Her name is Ming, and she's a huge celebrity. With that promotion just round the corner and a rival colleague raising his hand, Taiju is forced to swallow his zoophobia. He volunteers to escort Ming to the function. While preparing his team to the task, he gets a phone call from his daughter, Seo Yun. As she sounds a bit distressed, he drives there immediately. But she only wants him to help her return a cat to his family. There is no address on the tag. And by the way, his name is God. Taiju makes an effort to be patient while he explains that this is not an emergency. He also says that animals are dirty and she should wash her hands now. Very disappointed, Seo Yun informs him that she wants to be a veterinarian. He waits until she leaves to dump the cat in the trash. 2 days later, Ming's arrival is all over the news. Taiju is at the zoo, waiting for her and coordinating his team. He suddenly hears a creature growling right behind him. It's God. And he's not happy. The divine punishment arrives in the form of a colleague. Crony is famous for his stupidity, clumsiness, and extreme bad luck. Taiju despairs to hear that he's in his team today. To prove to him that his luck has changed, Crony shows him a fancy device that can disable anything electronic. A quick demonstration almost disrupts the entire event. Taiju tells him to stay where he is and do absolutely nothing. The crowd cheerfully welcomes Ming when she arrives. Suddenly, someone throws 2 smoke bombs near the stage. People panic and the bear runs away, frightened by the screams. Taiju runs after her until she gets hit by tranquilizers. Over the radio, he begins to give instructions about the next steps, but suddenly realizes these are not his people. These guys are here to kidnap Ming. Even worse than that, Crony decides to help. His vehicle hits Taiju right when he was trying to stop the criminals. He hits his head on the pavement, and before passing out, he hears a dog telling him to get the hell up and save the panda. At the hospital, he learns about the NIS cover-up. They told the public that the incident was just a drill to test their preparedness. Scoffing at the whole fiasco, Taiju goes home. His day gets even worse when that same neighbor enters the elevator. And then it happens again. The dog talks to him, and he's not very polite. Trying to keep calm, Taiju tells himself this is because he had a concussion. All he needs is rest and lots of healthy food. But when he goes to the store, a hamster starts talking too, and then a guinea pig. At work, the aquarium sounds like a party. Taiju has a complete breakdown and tells Direction Min that the animals are speaking in Korean. She tells him to take a few days off. But those fish said something about him losing the promotion after he failed to protect Ming. Taiju decides to fight for his job, using his time off to investigate the abduction. So he goes back to the zoo to question Crony, who is now working as Mingming's understudy. The public thinks she is still there, but the farce won't last much longer, as Crony manages to set the panda costume on fire. While he's rushed to hospital, Taiju makes a new friend. A female gorilla says she has the information he needs. Without much sanity to lose now, he agrees to her terms. She wants a copy of the National Geographic Special Edition on gorillas. You know, because it's full of hotties. Once the bribery is provided, she's ready to spill the beans. Taiju is not the only one who's looking for Mingming. A German shepherd named Ali is conducting his own investigation. At night, Taiju tiptoes towards an abandoned shed where Ali is talking to a group of animals. They are all eager to hear more about his adventures in the military. But while tiptoeing might work with a group of human suspects, it can't really fool that kind of nose. The intruder is immediately spotted and attacked. In a panic, Taiju grabs Ali and runs to the car. The German shepherd agrees to collaborate in exchange for a lifetime supply of tasty treats. Getting home, Taiju does his best to keep the place at the normal OCD level, despite the canine presence. In the morning, he sees how futile those efforts were. It looks like a hurricane has just swept a battlefield. With all of these things going on, Taiju had completely forgotten about the plans he made with his daughter. We now learn a bit more about their relationship. Xiao Yan's mother died a long time ago. The girl can't live with him because his job is too dangerous, or at least it's what he tells her. Today is her birthday, and he promised she could bring her friends over to celebrate. The kids are shocked to see the state of his home, and it's pretty obvious that he forgot her birthday. Xiao Yan gets very sad, because this is not the first time. However, her mood changes completely the moment she sees who the new guest is. She thinks her dad must have adopted a dog in an effort to overcome his stupid fears. Looking at her play with Ali, Taiju can't bring himself to tell her the truth. He also decides to pause the investigation for a few hours, so he can take Xiao Yan and her friends to the park. They spend the day together and have lots of fun. Once the kids are gone, Ali begins to talk about the case. It turns out that Ali is the very first animal that communicated with Taiju after he hit his head that day. He was brought to the zoo by the NIS as part of Mingming's security detail. A few moments before the attack, he recognized someone in the crowd. The man hiding his face in a hoodie is the same person who changed the course of Ali's life a long time ago. His first human partner was a sweet girl named Sui. With patience and love, she was able to train Ali for military service, despite his initial cowardice. But then, one of their overseas operations went terribly wrong. They were attacked by the lone wolves, and Sui didn't make it. The terrorists were led by a cruel man who had the same scent as the hooded guy at the zoo. When the panda bear was taken, the NIS human department proved to be too incompetent to deal with that kind of terrorist. Ali then decided to run away and fly solo. At the same time, Mingming is giving her kidnappers a hard time. As far as she's concerned, becoming a hostage doesn't affect her diva status at all, so she refuses to eat the cheap food they offer. The men are forced to steal some top-notch bamboo for her, dangerously risking exposure. It seems they have no intention to harm her, at least for now. Knowing that Panda Bear's diet consists almost exclusively of bamboo, Ali takes his new partner to that same farm. He picks up the kidnappers sent there, while Taiju finds himself questioning a goat. The man has come a long way, and it totally pays off. Mr. Goat is happy to bring justice to those thieves, while also showing off his investigative skills. In fact, he is so detail-oriented, he can even remember the license plate number. Now, it's Taiju's turn to give some human contribution to the case for a change. Running the license plate number, he gets to a name. Mansik is a biotech tycoon who has no criminal record whatsoever. It seems very unlikely to Taiju that a man like that would get mixed up with a terrorist group. And to steal a panda bear, of all things. But Ali swears that he saw that same face under the hoodie, and by now Taiju has realized that the dog's hunches are better than his own. Their next stop is Man-6's company offices. The magnate is working on a secret project. His team is developing something entirely new for the toy industry. It's a real-life toy in the form of a pet panda. What child wouldn't love to have a panda bear of their own? The only problem is that the thing involves some cloning of real giant pandas, and China is extremely protective of the Bekeler cuties. Ming-Ming's visit to South Korea was Man-6's only chance to get his hands on the prize. However, Taiju doesn't know any of that. Blindly following his German Shepherd advisor, he fails to collect any evidence before taking action. With the surprise factor on his side, he manages to overpower Man-6's security guards almost single-handedly. That is, considering that Ali has no hands. Man-6 is brought in for interrogation, but when Director Min demands tangible evidence, Taiju doesn't have any. And to make things worse, the NIS had already determined that Man-6 was in the United States on the day Ming-Ming was abducted. He can't be the person they are looking for. Director Min is embarrassed that the NIS could make such a mistake. She tells Taiju that he is fired. What she doesn't know is that the magnate is the person that they are looking for. It's just that there was no reason for him to get his own hands dirty. He hired the lone wolves to do it. Their leader is an international terrorist named Dmitri, the same man who made Ali an orphan of sorts. Wait a minute there. The dog knew that because of the man's scent, which means the hooded guy at the zoo was Dmitri. Why did Ali remember a different face then? It turns out that Dmitri was wearing a mask made out to look just like Man-6's face. The magnate is absolutely furious now. The whole point of hiring a terrorist was to keep his own hands clean. Taiju and the dog would never be able to find his connection to the case if he weren't for that stupid mask in the first place. Dmitri says that's just what you get for trusting a terrorist. He also demands the rest of the payment. Afraid to upset the lunatic, Man-6 gives him a case full of explosive capsules. What a good idea. Without their knowledge, Ali is listening to that entire conversation. Then she finds Ming-Ming and tells her to stay strong. His new partner will come to save her very soon. But Taiju still thinks that he lost his job because Ali was wrong. When the dog arrives, he refuses to open the door. Then he makes a call to the military department that provided the German Shepherds. Ali is taken by the military to be put away. Later on, Seo Yun comes to visit. Not finding Ali, she is totally heartbroken. That makes her dad realize how mean he was, instantly regretting the impulsive decision. He breaks into the military vet facility and saves Ali. The dog tells him everything and then takes him to the lone wolves. To Taju's complete horror, they happen to meet Crony on their way there. He begs him to stay out of this, knowing that disaster never misses that guy. Crony agrees and says he'll find somewhere to hide while Taiju and Ali break in. Once again, the Wonder Duo outsmarts all the bad guys. Ming-Ming is released and Ali shows her the way out. Some of the terrorists try to run after them, but Taiju throws several barrels at them. Of course, Crony is inside one of them. After walking for a few hours, Ming-Ming's gratitude is all but gone. She tells her two servants that this is unacceptable. A public figure like her must watch her weight, meaning that she can't lose any, as a skinny panda bear is unheard of. She demands a limo right away, but the best they can do for her is to catch a bus. To avoid suspicion, Taiju tells the other passengers that this is his friend Crony, who's wearing a panda suit just for fun. This is probably the lowest point in Ming-Ming's life, but it's also the very best day of Seo Yun's. She can hardly believe it when her dad arrives home with a panda bear for her to play with. Meanwhile, Man-6 is learning a bit more about not trusting a terrorist. Dmitri never intended to honor his end of the deal. The plan was to return Ming-Ming to the zoo after forcing her to eat the explosives. The capsules were specially designed for that, and he planned to make them go off during the presidential meeting. Now that he lost the bear, he'll have to make do with the military dogs. But first, he tests one of the capsules with Man-Sick himself. When the hideout goes up in flames, it's confirmed that it works. Back at Taiju's home, Director Min is invited over to check out his peculiar guest. She is happy to reinstate him, after apologizing profusely. Tonight is the official dinner with the Chinese PM. So, by the end of the afternoon, Ming gets her much-needed limo. But as he's saying goodbye to her, Ali smells something funny nearby. He can't help but follow the scent, which gets him captured by Dmitri's men. Xiao Yan sees it happen. She runs to her father and tells him, but it's too late to catch them. By now, Taiju's apartment looks more like a zoo, so he decides to mobilize all the animals to find Ali. Meanwhile, Dmitri forces Ali to swallow a capsule, while his goons are doing the same with several other dogs. As German shepherds are common as part of the security of such events, the criminals have no trouble getting them in. At Dmitri's signal, the doors are locked and the dogs are released in the middle of the guests. On his phone, the countdown begins. By now, Taiju has been informed by several different species about the terrorist attack. Sneaking into the venue, he saves the day by using Crony's pen. It disables all the electronic devices inside the building, including Dmitri's phone. Nai's agents arrive to fight off the terrorists, and Taiju jumps in front of Ali when Dmitri fires at him. Waking up at the hospital, he learns that all the terrorists have been arrested or otherwise neutralized. But what he wants to know is where his best friend is. Ali is at the vet because he got injured. Taiju runs there, meeting his Xiao Yan at the door. They both burst into tears at the sight of their dear Ali lying still like that. But then the vet comes and begins to laugh at them. Ali is totally fine. He's just sleeping. And this is the end. This was a recap of the 2022 movie Mr. Zhu, The Missing VIP by Liang Film, starring Lee Sung-min and Kim Seo-young. What do you think of Taiju's ability to talk to animals? Is it a gift or a curse? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time.